In John chapter 11, Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. And the question is, who is the miracle for? Jesus gets the news, your friend Lazarus is sick, and he waits 2 extra days before he goes to be with Lazarus. And during those 2 days, Lazarus dies. Martha says to him, if you'd only been here, my brother would not have died. And Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. Now, where was this event taking place? It's just on the other side from Jerusalem. It's 2 miles away. We know that Mary, Martha, and Lazarus had means. They were one of the wealthy families that lived just outside of Jerusalem. We know that when Lazarus died, who comes to the funeral? The important people from Jerusalem come. Well, not all, but you go to a funeral and they attend the funeral of Lazarus, and this is a really tight spot, because when Jesus then calls Lazarus and says, come out, and he does. This is the 5th time now he is showing them it's going to be the resurrection that gives me my authority to do what I'm doing. The problem is that the Sadducees, who are the main group now that would have been coming from the temple, they didn't believe people were resurrected physically. And here was a man standing in front of them who was in a body, had just been resurrected. Do you understand what Jesus is doing? He's saying, you are false in what you have been teaching. This is true. They say, we need to get rid of the evidence. Kill Lazarus. They are suppressing the evidence. However, at the end of John chapter 11, it does say that many believe. They don't have the top positions, but many do believe when they see Lazarus. And it's at that point that the high priest, they go, well, this is a lost cause. The whole world's going after him. And they're having this meeting. He says, you don't know anything. Listen, we just need to get rid of one and it will be over. Don't you know that it's expedient for one man to die on behalf of the nation? You know what he's saying? You kill the shepherd, you'll get rid of everything. And he had no idea how true his words were. One man has to die on behalf of the nation. And it says that he said it prophetically because he was the high priest. In other words, even though he was unaware of the meaning of his words were still being used and were true. Jesus seeks the lost for the final time. He goes back up through Galilee one last time, and as he's coming down from Galilee, he's on the border between Galilee and Samaria, and 10 lepers cry out to him, Son of David, have mercy on us. Remember the first miracles? If you're willing, you can make me clean. And he says, I am willing, be cleansed. It was to show them, you're unclean before God, and I can clean you. And so now 10 lepers come and ask, Son of David, have mercy on us. And he heals them, and he says, go to the priest as a sign. Even now, who is he calling? Come, look, what's happening? 10. One turns around, and this is amazing to me. In the course of 2.5, 3 years at this point, how many miracles has the Messiah done? How many people have been healed? Lots and lots. So he does this miracle, and they all go off. One of them comes back and says, thank you. Thank you for making me clean. He's not even Jewish. He's Samaritan. There was no thanks. There was just more, give me more, give me more. There's 2 blind men, Bartimaeus. This is when Jesus is coming through Jericho, and they too say, Son of David, do you see the 2 things? We're unclean and we are blind. Now, there's this excitement building as they move towards Passover. There's this excitement building about Jesus and what he's going to do. Is he going to set up his kingdom? Something's about to happen. This is when he meets the rich young ruler. This man says, I want to follow you. What do I have to do to inherit eternal life? So this rich young ruler, how did he get his money? Likely, he's young, likely got it through inheritance. Don't you see the addition that he would be to Jesus' kingdom? How good that would be for Jesus' campaign? What do I have to do to inherit eternal life? And then Jesus gives him the commandments, and he says, I've done it. I haven't murdered. I haven't committed adultery. I've honored my father and my mother. This would be a person that you and I would want to do business with. There's one commandment that Jesus left out when he said, keep the commands. Do you know the one he left out? Do not covet. Jesus said to him, if you want this, eternal life, that was him. I'm the resurrection and the life. If you want me, what did he have to give up? Everything else. And that's when he hit the wall, that choice wall. He had to lose everything, or he had to lose his soul, his life. And he chose losing his soul. He did. When he walked away from the source of life, he lost his life eternally. The unrepentant heart will never follow Jesus to the cross. The unrepentant heart can go through all the motions of being a disciple, but in the end, it will never let go of it all. That is greed. Jesus is Messiah King. He deserves it all. Then, right after this, is when we have the story of Zacchaeus. When the crowd started to grumble about Zacchaeus, why is Jesus going to his house? And Zacchaeus hears them grumbling. Why does he immediately say, Lord, up to half my possessions, I'm going to give them away. And if I've defrauded anyone, I'll pay him back 4 times. Where had he heard that? Who had told, if you've defrauded anyone, give them back the money you've defrauded them? That was John's message. Where is this happening? This is in Jericho. This is not far from where John had been baptizing. Do you see what Jesus is doing? In Luke chapter 19, verse 10, at the end of the Zacchaeus passage, it says, the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost. What is he quoting? He's quoting Ezekiel 34. He says, salvation has come to this one. Jesus now, just in these last couple weeks, it is invite people in. Tell them.